So, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute. I've seen this guy before. Yes, I am most famous for being Geraldine de Ruyter's husband, the travel writer, food James Beard Award-winning writer, author of If You Can't Take the Heat. Her reading is at Powell's tonight. She's on the marquee. We walked by and we're like, holy crap. That is one of the coolest feelings in the world, is to see your partner just like up in lights in this iconic place. Okay, so I want to prepare you. My talk will address technical topics around digital marketing. However, I'm going to make the assumption that you need it to be accessible, and I am not going to try and dig into the details. Instead, what I want to do is talk about what the hell happened to clicks on the internet. And the answer is pretty bad. If any of you have been in this field for 10, 15, 20 years, you know that. Gosh, Google used to send me a lot of traffic. Facebook used to send me a lot of traffic. Twitter used to send me traffic. Threads never send traffic, but they are very popular. Okay, at first, the way this started, it was just a Google problem. So essentially, I did this research back in 2019 where I looked at the percent of clicks, percent of searches that result in clicks to anyone's website. Any website. Just like you do a search on Google, and then you click on something, and you end up on a website. Hopefully, one of the people in this room's website. That would be lovely. Well, about half of all Google searches ended without a click in 2019. And then in 2020, 2/3 of all searches ended without a click. I don't know how bad it is today, but I am guessing it is even worse. I actually talked to a clickstream data provider about redoing this study given last week's AI announcement from Google. I don't know if you've seen Gemini from Google, but if you search on your phone now, it will give you different kinds of results. So for a lot of folks, what we've forgotten is how easy it used to be for content and SEO people, for bloggers, for creators to justify making an investment. Like, wow, I rank here for this keyword, and if I only ranked, a little bit higher, man, I could do incredible things. So if you've seen a search like this, right? Top travel destinations in Italy. Well, clicks here are going significantly down, and searchers who are happy with these instant answers are increasing. And this is, so Paul Rudd, who there's no effing way he's 55. That's just infuriating. I am 44, and he looks 11 years younger than me. That's just disturbing. Anyway, now Google is doing a new thing, which is when you perform a search, they will say, right? They're predictively saying, oh, I bet you want to know how old Paul Rudd is. You, like all human beings alive who've seen him, want to know. And now this predictive answering is happening. I think these are called negative click searches. It's not even zero click. You don't have to even complete your query and they're answering it for you. And as of last week, this rolled out, Monday, this rolled out for everyone. If you played with the Google AI sandbox, you probably saw it. But now I searched for how does Rand make videos, which, look, I appreciate that Google knows that I'm the Rand to whom I am referring. There's not a lot of Rands out there. And there's the blog post where I have all the information about it. But the idea, the exchange was, I let you crawl my site for free, Google, which costs me bandwidth, costs everyone in this room bandwidth when Google crawls your website and takes your content without any trademark or copyright rules around it. They get to take all of it and put it in their big machine. And the trade-off that we made for the last quarter century was, you send me traffic in exchange. And Google was like, go fuck yourself. They're like, we're a multi-billion-dollar company who is the second largest lobbying organization in the United States. What are you going to do? We pay for all the senators. Like, what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything to Google. And it's not just a Google problem. This expanded to everything. So I want to credit where it's due. Amanda Natividad, who's not here, but she's an incredible digital marketer, works with me at SparkToro now. called this zero-click marketing and zero-click content. And she basically recognized that this is not just happening in Google, it's happening everywhere. Instagram, no links in posts are allowed, which I'm sure you know. TikTok, no links in posts are allowed. Do you remember last year, TikTok actually tested making the link that was in bios invisible so they could not find them? Supposedly this is something that might roll out as well, which is, it's not like TikTok sends much traffic, but still annoying. Twitter is a link at your own peril. Well, engage at your own peril. Just don't engage probably. But Twitter, so this is a reveal. Remember when Elon bought Twitter, he made the promise that he was going to reveal what was in the algorithm. So this is an analysis of that reveal, noting that if you include a link in your Twitter post, the algorithm specifically penalizes its visibility. It makes sure that your post does not get seen in the feed. There's a few extra rules around it, but basically they're kneecapping all of those. Threads does the same thing. It's really funny how the Threads algorithm specifically does this. I won't play around with it, but you can read up on it on Threads by yourself. LinkedIn does the same thing. This is why if any of you use LinkedIn, you'll notice that a lot of creators and sort of, I don't want to call them tech bros, but right, they'll post the content with no link, and then they'll say, link in the comments, which LinkedIn has not caught on to the link in comments thing, or maybe they just don't care, but that's fine. You can see that when I test this, it's about 10x. So this is similar posts, similar content. I ran this analysis across a ton of the posts that I put on LinkedIn, and it's approximately a 90% visibility loss when you include a link. Facebook, really similar story. I'm sure for those of you who remember what like 2010, 2012 Facebook was like, they used to send a huge amount of traffic to the open web, and that has died. That is completely gone, right? So the one with a link, the one with no link, again, about 10x the reach, very similar to LinkedIn. So I made this handy chart for anyone who's interested. You can find this on the SparkToro blog. I think that the TravelCon folks will make sure that all these slides, Libby's gonna make sure that all the slides are provided to you, which doesn't mean that the photos you're taking aren't gonna be great. But the essential story here is unless all your activity is coming from the one network that does not penalize links, Mastodon. They're the only one. I really wish they had one after Twitter, but I think it was just hard to sign up and people didn't want to get into it. So you might be saying to yourself, gosh, that seems bleak. Don't worry, it gets bleaker. So it is not only the case that all of these platforms have this anti-link bias, it is also true that when they do send you traffic, you'll never know. So we looked into this and we were like, man, that is a huge percent of our traffic that comes from this source called direct. Could it possibly be the case, like are people really typing in or bookmarking these pages? Because supposedly that's what direct traffic is, right? It came with no referral source. So your analytics is Google Analytics, but any analytics package you want to install, it's saying all these people came directly to these pages. That cannot be true. It cannot be true. Only 29% are landing on the homepage. Is someone really typing that in? I don't buy it. So what we did is we ran a study with Steve from Real Good Data, and we basically took a room of people like this, and we asked all of them to go to specific social network profile pages and pieces of content. Go to this Reddit post, go to this TikTok profile, go to this Instagram profile, and please click on the link in there, in the bio, in the post. And then we looked at the traffic that arrived. We made sure that these were new pages that had never existed on the internet before. They couldn't have possibly been seen by anybody else. And then we looked at the referral string. And there you go. If these apps send you traffic, you get nothing. Except LinkedIn. LinkedIn, 14% of traffic is hidden. I don't know why LinkedIn's blocking some of it. That one's highly variable. Instagram, again, highly variable. DMs on Instagram, nothing. So I made a big chart here of sort of all these platforms. You can see the percent that are not providing attribution. Infuriating. If you are working for a hotel, a travel website, if you're working for a convention center, if you're working on event marketing for a conference, you are almost certainly doing things that are contributing to the brand growth, and it's showing up in direct, and you're getting no credit. And that sucks. I think that is completely unfair. And also, there's nothing you can do about it. You might say to me, wait a minute, Rand, can I put in UTM parameters for those of you who are familiar with UTM parameters that sit at the end of URLs? No, because most of these networks strip them out. Infuriating. If you put a UTM parameter in a TikTok URL, boom, they'll take it out for you. LinkedIn does the same thing. It's just mind-numbingly difficult to try and attribute traffic. I'm not sure it's worth it. So, with these last few minutes, what I'm going to try and do is present some ideas around things that do still work in the digital marketing universe and what you can attempt. I will say this. Also, first off, this is the youngest person who's ever attended one of my talks, and I'm deeply honored. I have always said you should start teaching digital marketing young, and I think it's really just singing to me. So, look, I'm going to walk you through, there's a lot of people who say, well, the way to get around this is advertising, because advertising does, right? If I put an ad on Instagram, if I put it on YouTube, if I put it on LinkedIn, if I put it on Reddit, if I put it on Threads, sorry, Threads doesn't have advertising yet, but any of these places, you can see all the traffic, right? They'll send you all the details. This is like a, forcing function that the platforms use. You want attribution? You better pay. And yet, when all of these companies cut millions and hundreds of millions of dollars out of their advertising spend, they experience what I think Brian Chesky described really well from Airbnb. We can take marketing down to zero and still get 95% of the same traffic. What? Wait a minute. So what is the advertising doing? When he says marketing here, he doesn't mean marketing. He means paid ads, just to be clear. And the New York Times investigation found, in fact, that this is exactly what Airbnb did. They reduced their ad spend. They saw increase. So I'm going to tell you a brief story. It's the story of a pizzeria in Milan, Pizzeria Sibia in Milan. Anyone who speaks Italian can correct my accent there, but I think Sibia is correct. So the owner of the pizzeria, she's like, she's a very savvy businesswoman. She's trying to increase foot traffic to come into the pizzeria. And so she's like, well, I'm going to hire 3 little neighborhood scamps, like kids from around the neighborhood, and I'm going to give them flyers with discount codes on them, a red one, a green one, and a white one, the colors of the Italian flag, right? The pizza margherita. So she has them run around. After a month, she looks, oh my God, the kid with the green flyer is crushing it. Like 80% of the business coming in to the pizzeria is showing up with the green flyer. So she fires the other 2 kids. She's like, you're promoted. You go, keep doing whatever you're doing, kid. 6 months later, she talks to her accountant. She's like, hey, business is pretty good, right? And the accountant's like, well, business is up. It's true. You have about 20% more customers than you did before, maybe 15, 20. But so many people are coming in with a discount code that actually revenue is down. She's like, how is this possible? I swear to you, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 of my customers are coming in with the green flyer. This kid must be driving way more business. So what does she do? Well, she's Italian. She puts on a disguise. And she follows the kid out of the pizzeria in the morning. And she looks to see what he does. And what does the kid do? Yeah. He goes out of the pizzeria, looks around, and he ducks into an alley just around the corner. And then he watches. And anybody who looks like they're coming toward the pizzeria, he jumps out and hands them a flyer. Because why work hard to make more sales when you could just take credit for sales that were already going to happen? AKA Google and Facebook's motto. So look, the hard to swallow pill here, the really tough part is that the best marketing opportunities are usually the hardest to measure. And this is something I think we have to instill in everyone we work with. The CEO, the leadership team, the CMO, everyone has to be on this page. They have to understand how attribution is failing, how it misattributes sales that were already going to happen to advertising before we can even open the conversation about what to do. Because if you are stuck in an organization that says you have to attribute all your marketing activities. You have to prove to me that it's worthwhile. Sorry, you're doomed, right? You've got to teach them what I'm showing you here. You have to explain why this is happening and that it is happening, and they've got to believe you. Because the solution starts from that place of belief. And then my strong suggestion is that online audiences do pay attention in places. Imagine this, it's 1965 and you are driving down the highway and there's a billboard that Coca-Cola spent $2 million to build, right? Because it's got the neon and it's got the kid on it and like extraordinarily expensive thing. And what is the way that they're measuring that investment? They are putting that billboard up in 10 cities around the country, and then they're looking to see if same-store traffic and same-store sales of Coca-Cola rises over the next 6 months. And that is what I'm urging you to do, to go to the places where your audience already pays attention. That could be websites, it could be forums and communities, it could be places on social media, it could be events and conferences, it could be podcasts and YouTube channels and subreddits. These are places where people gather to learn new information. They are places where people have discussions about this stuff. They are places where people do trip planning and event planning and purchase insurance and do all of the things that they do. And we get information in these places. It is not just from Google searches. Google searches is a fine place to do this as well, right? But again, the keyword data that used to be provided is no longer provided if you're doing it organically. And I think we have to not be afraid of this problem. So a thing that I see a tremendous amount in the SEO world, for those of you who don't know, I used to run a company called Moz. For like 17 years I was there and left that in 2018 and started SparkToro. But Moz was in the SEO software space. And I did a lot of work in SEO world. And I see from my colleagues in SEO who are still there this fear of the Google death knell of SEO, that essentially zero-click searches are going to be so much of the pie that there's going to be nothing left, nothing but navigational search left. And my answer is, that's still a billboard. That's still a place where you can do marketing. It's just not going to drive a click. And if you're unafraid to participate in that way, you can still win by getting Google to promote your information. I think SEO is sort of like marketing now, brand marketing, not traffic driving. You can do this through earning followers and building up your audience on social media. I like this philosophy a lot. Rather than trying to drive people from social media over to your website, I think building that up is a great way to go. Growing your reach and engagement through essentially brand activities, activities that start to identify you, the person, and your brand with the problem that you solve. This has worked really well for us at SparkToro. Over the time, especially the time that Amanda has come on board and been the VP of marketing for us, this is what she's invested in. And that she even applied the zero-click strategy to email newsletters. She was like, you know what? I don't think people want to click in the email newsletter. I think they want all the content right in the email. And she was totally right. And our rates have gone from, I think, a little under 25%. Our open rates have gone from a little under 25% to a little over 40%. And our list has grown from just under 20,000 subscribers to a little over 60,000 during her tenure. This flywheel essentially works this way. You go find the sources of influence in your field that reach your audience, podcasts, YouTube channels, subreddits, Google searches, events, whatever it is. And you try and provide unique value to earn their attention natively in the platform, in the place where they are, right? And then hopefully impress those people such that they know you, like you, trust you, remember you, and you bring them to your website after that through essentially them saying, gosh, I heard about, this brand. I remember I have a positive association with them. I'm going to go buy from them. And that's when you turn their audience into your audience. This structure works really, really well. Okay, I do have some bonus slides, but given we only have 20 seconds left, I'm just going to tease you with them, and then you're going to see them in here. But I'll talk a little bit about AI content. You'll get some of that. You can see a little bit about, I know, the return of Barnacle SEO. we'll see the only channel where engagement hasn't fallen off a cliff. What is it? Yes, email, that's right. Because look, the death of all of these channels, but somehow email stays strong. I put together this chart. Look at that. Unbelievable. Email still works 25 years later. That's the only one I'd invest in as like a capture scenario at the end. Thank you so much.